On this week's World of Saltwater Fishing, I'll be off Key Largo in the fabulous Florida Keys. I'll be fishing with legendary NFL coach Jimmy Johnson. Stay tuned.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing. Big fish don't stand a chance.
Key Largo in the fabulous Florida Keys, the top island in the chain. And here I was trailering down the Mark VI to fish with NFL coach, legendary coach, Jimmy Johnson, a Keys resident and a fellow offshore fishing person. But before we get to Jimmy Johnson and the fishing, just days before this trip, we repowered the Mark VI with the brand new Mercury V10 400 horsepower outboards. They're 5.7 liter, naturally aspirated. Everything was dialed in. I was looking forward to putting the very first fishing trip on the new power with, of course, Jimmy Johnson.
I came down, and my first exposure to the Florida Keys was I went down to the Tiki Bar, and from what I remember, I had a good time. But I had a great run at University of Miami, and during that time, I got certified at scuba diving. Once I got into fishing, I went full bore. I mean, rods and reels and lures and reading about it and watching it on television. So I don't scuba dive anymore, but I do a lot of fishing.
Now, I'm sure I'll get criticized for even saying this, but I'm not a huge football fan. My whole passion is fishing, to maybe a lesser degree stock car racing, but the short tracks. That's pretty much it for me. I know I'm a boring person outside of the fishing. But so the football really didn't mean all that much to me, and I think this was very, very good because Jimmy, coming off a football career, probably the last thing he wants to do is get on a boat and talk about football all day. I think this is an escape for him. We were all set to meet at a friend's house right at the Mark VI docked on the ocean side in Key Largo, and the time was 6:30. So I knew that when I say 6:30, me personally, I'm gonna be there about, if not a quarter to 6, you know, at least 10 minutes before, and that's exactly what I did. And I was surprised at 6 o'clock to see this Jeep pull up, and out comes Jimmy Johnson. And the goal was to go out and do some offshore trolling for dolphin, you know, Mahi, which he loved to do, and which is also a passion. So here we were, deep in discussions about the day and already bonding, and the crew saying, come on, we need to get going, let's go offshore. It was August, and it had been slow, so you have to put all your Mahi knowledge together to try to put together a good catch. So as we're running, we're getting around 600 feet of water, and I see some birds. And as we approached, I see this bamboo floating in the water. So we moved up to it, and I think Jimmy threw out a bait, or I threw out something just to see if we had a school under the bamboo, which, to my surprise, no fish were around it. So I said, all right, this is a good area. You have something floating. It looked like it's been in the water for a while. You have birds working around the area. I said, let's spot troll. Instead of putting out the 5-line spread, let's put 2 flat lines out, work the area. We're gonna find out in fast order if there are any Mahi around, and boom, in fast order, we did. Jimmy was hooked up onto a Mahi. There's the bird coming on us now. Look at those dolphins are gonna be right under it.
Yeah, we got a little peanut hitting this one.
Oh, you got a hit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him hitting it. Let's get him hooked up. I saw the rod bounce. Oh, there's the other one getting hit.
Got a hit over here.
Let's try to. There you go, Coach. You got him on there? I think you have him, do you not? I'll slow you down a little bit. Yep, I think you got him. All right, I've got him in there for you. Got him, Coach? All you. Let's see if there's any followers.
Oh boy.
Oh well, that's a
release.
In a football, they call that fumbled, right?
Fumble.
All right, I'm gonna circle back. We got him around here.
I can't, deal with just a single hook. And the first dolphin that I caught, it was a single hook, and so I'm going to flip it in the boat, and it came off.
Yeah, I'm used to those double hook trolling.
Well, you got it. You made a point with that. I know.
Once I get it hooked, it's hooked.
Just got schooled by Jimmy Johnson.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Penn. Let the battle begin. Mako. You'll find them where the fish are. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Mercury Marine. Go boldly. George, we'll be right back.
After reassuring Coach Jimmy Johnson that single hooks really do work, we get back to trolling. We're off Key Largo into Florida Keys.
All right, so there's one, but no followers, one that shook off. So I didn't have second hooks on any of these baits. I said, we're gonna make the weedless work. There's no reason why it's not gonna work. And again, you know, these were schoolies and some peanuts mixed in there. So we go back on the troll spot, trolling just 2 rods, working around in the area. And bam, Jimmy gets hooked up again. And this time he fights the fish up. And lo and behold, guess what? That single hook worked.
You're doing good. It's just that I saw him come up and took a jump on it. Oh, you got him. Hey, you do, Jimmy. There you go. Wind him up out of the rod holder now, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, where do you want me to put it?
Is that legal first?
No.
You can release it. You're definitely going to release that one, Jimmy.
Okay.
We flipped the Mahi in the boat, and we looked at it. It was like it'd be a borderline as far as a legal one, but let the fish go. And, you know, if we could get a few fish or some fresh dinners, that's wonderful. But, you know, anything else and anything beyond the fresh dinners, let them go, you know. And ironically, every time that you would come by that bamboo, nothing happened. It was all around the perimeters and out-of-ways, and then the birds would move away and they would come back down again, and that's where the Mahi were. We'd work our way over there, and I believe we got a third fish on the troll.
You know, I never, ever gave up to another team, but to this little guy, I'll give up to him.
You know, it's birds number 1, you know, debris number 2, and then if you don't see those 2, you know, find a weed line. If you get a weed line, there's going to be some small bait fish under that weed line, and there'll probably be some big fish, you know, feeding on those small ones.
Around 720, 730 feet, we come upon a really nice looking weed line, just totally scattered, but there were weeds in there. The first pass, boom, you know, Jimmy's hooked up again, and boom, my rod goes down. So now we've got a double.
I got a nice fish here.
All right, Jimmy. Yes, you do got a good one there. Yeah, I got to work with you now. I think I pulled mine off. I'm going to work with you. You do have a nice one. Mine jumped out. Here's another one cutting across. Here, he's eating me now.
My dolphin goes over and crosses Jimmy's fish, and now we have a tangle. And I know we have a tangle. Jimmy's cranking his in. I'm trying to keep tight to mine. Mine leaps, boom, throws the hook. So now it's up to Jimmy to bring his fish in, now with my line wrapped around his line. And sometimes dolphin fishing will do that to you.
Oh, that's you coming in, Jimmy? Let me see what I got to come under here. Well, I'm going to let you know in a minute. I don't know which way we're going to do it here, but I'll put this on free spool. It goes around you, Jimmy. You know what?
Pull it there. There you go.
Oh,
There
yours. I'm
we
going to
go.
straighten out this tangle back here.
I think it's a keeper.
I think that is
Where you want to put him?
right under your feet. We got a blitz in there, Jimmy. You got that fish.
Yeah,
2 or
decent
3 got
fish.
on. 1 ran across you, and
Well, I know.
I'm circling back in there right now.
Nice.
Love to have a conversation with you, but
Nice job at untangling.
The initial migration of Mahi into the Florida Keys occurs in May and peaks around late June. However, a solid second run occurs from September through most of October. Working birds, weed lines, and debris holding bait are prime visual targets. However, don't neglect the true edges of the Gulf Stream, heavy plankton fronts, and pockets of flying fish. Best bet? Cast a fresh value on a J-style hook and 50-pound fluorocarbon leader at any sizable Mahi you happen upon. An artbypasta.com from Catch to Canvas Rendering.
Catch the canvas, baby.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Simrad. Adventure begins with Simrad. Rapala holds the world record for world records. Suffix always use the best line. Starbright. Clean and protect with Starbright. George will be right back.
With storms closing in and our day not far from ending, it was time to reach deep into my bag of tricks. One of my favorites is to sink and swim. Simply shift into neutral and allow the trolling spread about 45 seconds or so to sink. Then immediately resume trolling speed. The baits rushing back to the surface often draw a strike.
And that worked. We did the sink and swim, we took off, and bam, there you go.
All right, JJ's on. You know, that was a sink and swim routine I told you about. I'm here to coach you.
You got me.
That was a pun intended.
Yeah, I got you. I'm very coachable.
You're doing good. No followers per se.
Flipping.
Yep, come on up, coming on, coming on, and he's
in.
in. That's a keeper.
Very nice.
Yes, sir, Jimmy.
Very good, George. That's off of a sink and swim right there.
Now, don't go telling everybody I'm secret now. Nice one, Jimmy. All right, well, it's chipping away. Chipping away. We're going to keep chipping.
We got another Mahi on, and Jimmy took care of that one too. I went to another basic dolphin trick where you just take cut up ballyhoo with chunks that you would normally broadcast over for school fish to keep them around the boat. And as we were approaching the birds off the bow, I grabbed the pin spinner, had a little live bait style hook. I took a piece of ballyhoo, hooked it up to the hook, broadcasted 3 or 4 pieces of ballyhoo out there, and made a cast with my little chunk bait under the birds. Didn't stay in the water more than 5 seconds. I felt that thump. I wound tight. I'm hooked up.
I did the sink and swim again. I'm gonna put this in gear. And what happened, I went off the bow, basic cut piece of ballyhoo on a plain hook, made a long shot, letting these other baits sink, which we're picking up now. We make it another knockdown. And sure enough, boom, the old ballyhoo on a hook trick off the bow worked. And
You may flip him in?
I might be able to do it one thing with a spinner. Let's take a look. He might be a little small. We'll see. All you. Yes, sir, Jimmy.
Okay.
I'll do a little measurement down on my
got
trusty
it?
ruler there.
Got a lot of blood on the boat.
That's okay. That's a good thing. Then I'm going back with a clean boat. What is it, 20 to the fort? It looks bigger than that, doesn't it?
21.
To the fort. He's going in. Wow, Jimmy. We did all right.
Catching a few fish.
We're picking. It's a pick, but we're picking.
Yeah,
You know?
I love your sink and swim. I'm going to give that a shot.
It's pretty good.
I mentioned using the Simrad radar bird mode to locate birds that lead you to fish, and in this case, Mahi. The radar actually has its basic function is to get you through adverse weather. And here we are looking around offshore, and you could start seeing some of the storms building up around us. And I know some people out there don't like to hear that it actually rains in the Florida Keys, but it does from time to time.
Fortunately, George has got radar on his boat because I looked around and man, there was some dark weather out there. There were some storms.
So Jimmy and I looked at each other and said, hey, we picked away at some dolphin, we boated some for dinner, released others out there, and they said, we're gonna get wet here.
He was able to look at the radar with that Simrad and said, okay, we're gonna go this way, that way, that way.
I love it. I love it.
We still, got wet, but we missed the big storm.
We docked the boat, unloaded the fish, cleaned some fish, moved the tackle, and of course, Jimmy found that Papa's Pilar bottle of rum, and the next thing you know, here we are sitting on the dock, having Papa's Pilar rum, and talking about fishing stories too.
Shortly after entering the Florida Keys, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill is at mile marker 104, Bayside. This impressive complex features a restaurant and tiki bar, JJ's Sports Bar, JJ's Pool and Cabana Club, Enrico's Pizza, and Pirates Cove Water Sports. Open for lunch and dinner, the menus are quite varied and span from appetizers to desserts. We dined on burgers, lobster pizza, conch fritter appetizers, and Old Bay shrimp served cold. Happy hours and live entertainment maintain the Big Chill's festive atmosphere. Adjacent to the Big Chill is Jimmy Johnson's Fisherman's Cove, where we stayed. Fisherman's Cove is a private club that sells fractional ownership in 6 elegantly appointed waterfront homes. Each 3-bedroom, 3-bath residence has around 2,300 square feet of luxuriously furnished living space. Panoramic windows and a large private balcony overlooking Florida Bay's Blackwater Sound make for an amazing base to watch those world-famous Florida Keys sunsets. It's so remarkable of a place, you can't help but ask for a late checkout.
George's Tackle Locker.
Starbright makes washing and caring for your boat fun. And why, you might ask? The shine and layer of protection from their boat washes, including scented and wash and wax variations, Vinyl Guard, View Guard, and non-skid deck wax, leaves a shine and protective layer that is hard for grime to adhere to. Therefore, cleaning up after a long day of fishing becomes an easy and fast proposition. Their non-skid deck cleaner and Extreme Clean will take care of any difficult to remove grime. The boat's luster is maintained twice a season with Starbright's marine polish and even more frequently with their spray guard for quick detailing. People who fish with me can't wait to grab a brush and get the Starbright into Mark 6. And when they're having such a good time, who am I to get in their way? Check out the full line of Starbright Boat Care products. They just might keep your friends from bailing on you back at the dock.
Mercury Performance Stats, Key Largo, Florida Keys. Seas, 3 to 4 feet. Power, Triple Mercury Verado V10 400 horsepower outboards. Props, Mercury Revolution X 25-inch pitch. Total miles, 67. Consistent cruise, 4,300 RPMs. Speed, 45 miles per hour on average. Total fuel burned, 58 gallons. George, we'll be right back. George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. ACR, the leader in marine safety electronics. Papa's Pilar Artesian Crafted Rum. Never a Spectator. VMC, your expert in hooks. Art by Pasta, real life art. Visit artbypasta.com.
One of the highlights of the trip was getting together with Jimmy the day after fishing. He wanted me to see his tackle room, the awards, and his whole complex out here. And it was really amazing to take the grand tour, and he's very welcoming, and I went on the Jimmy Johnson tour at Jimmy Johnson Tackle Center.
Well, you've been fishing longer than me, but I'm kind of proud of what I've got.
I don't blame you.
It's quite a collection here, right?
It is, and I got to tell you, it is definitely an honorable second place run to my
second place. I knew that. I got my spinners, I got my conventional, got my bent butts. Hey, I'm ready for whatever kind of fish we want to fish for.
I'm loving it. There, your confidence level. You have all your gaffs.
All my gaffs,
over here.
and all my lures. And I can sit here for hours, rigging baits. I mean, it's fun.
It is really amazing. Very, very cool. Good operation.
Well, when Bradshaw and I did a Geico commercial, and then when I did the Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, Reba McEntire and
Well, here's one in particular, because this exemplifies you. And I always wanted to ask you this question, so now I'm going to take the opportunity. What kind of hair gel do you use? I got the same hairstyle. Your hair stays perfect at 70 miles an hour in a boat.
George, I have gone through more hairspray. In fact, Howie Long says, I'm killing the ozone layer right here. Little Christmas picture with a couple of
Nice, whoa, good present.
All I can say, Coach, is thanks for the great tour.
I always love being on the water. So I never have a real bad day on the water, even if I don't catch a fish. But fishing with George was fun. We had great stories. We had a lot of laughs. We had a hot day, we had a rainy day, and we caught fish. Can't get any better than that.
So just to have spent the day with Jimmy talking about fishing, not even really getting into the football aspect, you could tell he thoroughly enjoyed it. and it was an honor for me to have him aboard the Mark VI and have a fun day dolphin fishing. It was like two old friends. We're telling funny stories, and he's telling about these fish catches. It was a remarkably perfect day in Key Largo, of course, in the fabulous Florida Keys. If you want to keep track of our fishing adventures, we welcome you to follow us on our social media. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/George.Poveromo. I'm on Instagram at George Poveromo. And you could see our shows in 4K broadcast quality on YouTube at my YouTube channel, which is George Poveromo TV. Jump aboard and ride along with us.